feel like I'm sitting on the floor when I'm playing. It's like I legitimately think I'm like sitting Indian style, crisscross applesauce, trying to play blackjack.
Casino trip, full of chips. Wanna flip, double it.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps, you're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our experiences gambling and stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a seasoned pro at the craps table or just curious what the buzz is about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode. What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 21 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we tonight?
Oh, we're fired up. We're fired up. This is episode 21, and it happens to be heavily about blackjack. Imagine that. But me personally, I'm exhausted. It's been a long week. I'm lucky that my eyes are open for this episode, but I'm actually excited because we're getting into blackjack. We're getting into some blackjack probably over the next few episodes. We just came off a monumental interview with Sweet Lou, which was fantastic. It's getting a lot of airtime. I really love it. We love Lou. We love the AC crew. And I don't know, maybe we'll see each other at the end of the month. I'm excited.
Maybe. Yeah, no, that episode's doing really well. That was a great interview with Lou. Lou's always great to talk to, and I'm glad we were able to have him on and chit-chat with him a little bit, and a lot of positive feedback from that one. So that is very good, and it's funny you mentioned that we're going to be, episode 21 talking about blackjack here. Literally, for the folks at home, this was not realized until the record button was literally pushed and a countdown started. So for the folks at home who don't know, like when I push the record button, there's a little countdown to before it starts recording. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, trying to remember what episode we're on, right? And I'm like, 21. And then just so happens, blackjack related, new segment coming today. So stay tuned for that. What the FOC? Of course, we're going to be what the FOCing here. And DJ has a lot to say. DJ has a lot to say about this one. We'll get into that shortly. Before we talk about one thing that I want to talk about real quick, for the folks at home, if you want to, right? We debuted it in the last episode. Casino Tiers has given us a promo code, 15% off for the Full of Chips listeners. So if you're looking for anything from Casino Tiers, casinotiers.vegas, Full of Chips 15 will get you 15% off. I'll put the little flyer up right now and you can take a look at it, but link is down below if you want to go take a look at it. Dice, merch, whatever, go support 10 Ton and Ed because they are great and they love us, so they want to help our listeners out by using the code FullofChips15 and get 50% off anything there. All right, Craig. Anyway, you said you were tired. It's been a long week. It's definitely been a long week. But do you follow college football a lot or not really?
Oh, I did not do any betting, but I watched Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah, that was a game. My week has literally been filled with many texts because people know how analytical I am, right? And they know that I'm into all the sports. Now, I will say college football is not one of my areas that I'm very, very strong in from a betting perspective. Not because I don't want to be. It's just there's so many games on so often, and I don't bet on it really, right? I'll bet on it occasionally, but not a ton. However, it doesn't mean I don't watch it, I don't enjoy it, and I don't dive into football, right? Because I'm a sports junkie. And the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, they deserve an award, but we won't give that to them yet. We'll give that to them maybe next year after they royally screw it again, okay? But my whole text feed, I could literally pull up my text. Everybody's been texting me. What are my thoughts on Tulane and James Madison getting into the college football playoff? But Notre Dame being left out, Alabama being put in, Miami being put in, all this kind of stuff, right? All I will say on this matter, because I know we're not talking sports today, but I have to get this out here. I'm just fired up about it. And
Gotta
it's
get it out.
very relevant to the timing. Listen, folks at home, okay, if you are a Tulane fan or you're a James Madison fan, congratulations for making the playoffs. You are going to get smoked by 30 in the first round. Miss already beat Tulane by 35 earlier this year. They're probably going to beat them just as bad. James Madison doesn't even belong on the same field as Oregon, okay? Now, again, I understand their rules and the other shit that they came up with here of why those teams are in, okay? I get it. When it comes down to football at this time of the year, especially college football, NFL, I want to see good games, right? If I want to watch Alabama play like some community college, leave it for like week 1 or week 2 when I can watch a 50-point route. When it's playoff time, I do not want to watch a 50-point route. Like, I'm just gonna, like, next Saturday, I'm gonna be sitting here and I'm gonna be watching Oregon just murder James Madison. And then I'm gonna watch Ole Miss murder Tulane. And I may be very wrong, but I highly doubt that. Those games are not even going to be competitive. Like, these guys are going to have a tougher practice playing against their B squad than playing against those two teams. But that's beside the point. So the committee is an honorable mention for an award that is coming up. But as we always do, Craig, what are you drinking? And I may have hit mine a little too early, but what are you drinking?
Before I go into what I'm drinking, I will play devil's advocate for a slight second, because if it can happen in college hoops, as we saw, a 16 takedown of 1, it can happen in football.
That's
Any given
true.
Sunday is not just for NFL.
That's true.
However,
However,
with college football being more offense heavy, because sometimes I watch college football and I'm like, do they even teach defense, or is
no.
it just offense they teach?
Now, see, here's the thing with basketball too, though, right? You got 64 teams in it. Here you got 12. Like, I
That
want
true.
12 good teams, right? Like, yeah, there's a Cinderella story all the time, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like in basketball, a Cinderella story is much easier to have than in football. Like in football, like, yeah, Rudy, great story, right? How many times have you seen a Rudy in the NFL? Never. How many times have you seen a Rudy in college football? Never. You see it in college basketball, sure, right? Yeah, every once in a while, right? I remember a couple years ago when Loyola Chicago went on that run as like a 14 or a 15 seed, whatever they were, right? But like, I mean, James Madison, come on, come on, like,
I'll give it
why,
to you.
why? Anyway, what are you drinking tonight?
Hey man, with all this talk about college football and how south it's going with the playoffs, you gotta do something. And so I'm going back to the oldie but goodie. This is the Crown and Dr. Pepper.
There
But
you
I will
go.
say I may have put more Crown than Dr. Pepper.
Well, that's how it should be, and that'll get us nicely lubed up for what's to come today here.
Oh,
Um, Yeah, that looks strong. I could see you got all warm and fuzzy inside as soon as you drank that one.
well, actually, no,
Um,
I actually got like that because you said the word lube, but it's
well, oops. It's funny. That's actually one of our you know, you have those words that you just hate to hear. Like, I don't know if you have any words that you hate to hear, but like we have a friend who hates the word like moist, or like um instead of like, you know how you say crevice, but like the British people say crevasse? Like, hate that word. But some people hate the word lube, and I'm like, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I hit this way too early.
all right. But
Whoops.
but if you're making a cake, do you not want it to be moist? Just saying.
Listen, if that cake is dry, I want no part of that. I want a moist cake. I'll make sure they don't listen to this episode because they're gonna get triggered. Um, Yeah, but well, this is a very moist beverage. I got the good old Diet Coke, of course, and there's some bourbon in here. So
There you
we're
go.
having a grand old time. But even though the College Football Committee deserves the FOC FOS Award, Craig, you have a very, very deserving recipient of the FOC FOS Award. So who deserves that FOS award today?
So we did we debuted it for YouTube TV, who I happen to think that because of our award, they finally got a deal done with Disney, and ESPN was back on like a week later, right?
I agree. We're
This is the
influential.
first one. This is the first one we're giving out to, I think, a person. Now, the person will remain nameless because I don't know their name. But this award is going to be given to a cashier at a local grocery store where I live, who I was just trying to buy some groceries because the wife sends me to the store. Like I told you all last week, she doesn't tell me go to the casino. She tells me to go to the store. So I went to the store. I had my Raven camo hoodie on. It wasn't even Sunday. It was Saturday night. And I had it on. I did my shopping. I'm getting my groceries through the cashier on the turnbell or wherever they call it. And they're bagging them. And it gets down to just the sodas, which it was a good deal. Buy two, get three free. You can't turn that down, right?
Never.
These were 8 packs of Coke and other kinds of soda. So they're scanning it. And while they're scanning it, he must have seen what I had on. I had a Ravens camo hoodie. I've worn it on a previous episode. It's the white one. He says to me, "Who the Ravens playing this week?" As if he didn't know, And I said, "The Steelers. It's rival week." And he's like, "Oh, the Steelers are going to crush the Ravens." And beside the point that the the Steelers took it to the Ravens, but we have an argument about Isaiah Likely's touchdown being a catch. So tangent back on.
Questionable.
Yeah, we're gonna tangent back onto the story. He's giving me crap. He doesn't stop there. He's like, "Come on, tell me who you really think's going to win. You can say it. You can say it, Steelers." Now at this point, my brain's telling me, okay, this person obviously knew who the Ravens were playing, and he just decided to taunt me. Did he stop there? Oh no, he's like, "You probably don't even have a Ravens shirt on underneath that hoodie." So I'm like, okay, he just keeps on coming at me. Now he says one more thing, but I am 51 and I don't remember all details. I remember it as best I can. But I know he said one more thing because as the spin around had all the bagged groceries that had not been put into the cart yet, he says, "Will there be anything else?" To which I said, "Go fuck yourself." And he said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm serious." And he still had to help me bag my groceries into the cart. And then he said, "Have a good day." And I said, "Have a good day." And I went on my way. But he is getting the FOC FOS Award for his shit stain of an attitude and the fact that you would hound a customer at the grocery store.
Yeah. That goes along with something we're going to talk about later. But, like, why are people so rude and, like, they want to cause a problem sometimes? Like, I guess you're lucky that your eggs were probably bagged already, that he didn't, like, throw your eggs in the bottom of a bag and then throw, those cans of soda on top to smash them, make you scrambled eggs in your bag.
Look, I get it. It's rival week. And most of the times when you go to the store and, somebody likes an opposing team, they'll say, "Oh yeah, they're playing the Steelers. I'm a Steelers fan. And, it's going to be a good game." And that's where it ends.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
no, this person acted like they didn't know who was playing the Ravens and then obviously knew who the Ravens were playing.
Yeah.
And
That's
he,
like
as we say in Blackjack, he showed his hand.
he did. He did. We're gonna get to Blackjack. I know we're taking a little bit to get there. We're gonna get there. Don't you worry at home, folks. But yeah, like, when I go around, right? Obviously everybody knows I'm an Eagles fan. I see somebody with a Cowboys jersey on. I don't go up to him and cause a problem. It's like, why? Like, what's that gonna do? Now, if we engage in a little dialogue, it's exactly how you said. Like, oh, looking for a good game this week. Or like, yeah, I hope my Eagles win, but I'm not going to go up there and be like, yeah, you could tell me the Eagles are going to win. Huh, 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 huh. Shut up. It's unbelievable. People are crazy. People are wild, man. I don't
You know
know.
what? This might go into our tip of the episode, so stick around because we're going to get to that later.
Oh, we're going to get to that later. I think it's time for some blackjack talk. And as I said, we're going to introduce a new segment, which is coming very, very shortly. If you haven't guessed, it's blackjack related. But we got to prep you a little bit, right? We got to prime you for that segment. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the layout on a blackjack table. And it'll all come full circle soon enough, right? But, Craig, take us through the layout on a blackjack table and why the layout is important. Same thing with craps for my craps folks at home. The layout is important. All right. So,
I was just gonna bring that up, but we actually have brought up the different sections of the craps table. It's very important. It's not as complex. People look at it And even myself, for years, I avoided it because it looked too complicated, but it's not. It's got its sections. You just have to know each section. You have to start somewhere, and they always say, like, start with the 6-8. Blackjack, every table really looks complicated at first glance. But even a blackjack table, once you get to know it, and I'm looking down because I'm actually at my blackjack practice table. So I'm looking at the layout right now. But, the layout, it can be different between live dealing and it can be different between online layouts. But generally, every blackjack layout has betting circles for each player, dealer area, the dealer must hit soft 17, payout text such as blackjack pays 3-2, never go to one that says pays 6-5. We've said that before. Also has the insurance pays 2-1. Don't play insurance. There are deviations for that. Chris has talked about a little bit about the insurance, but honestly, don't ever buy insurance. But some have chip trays. I have not been to a blackjack table that actually has chip trays in front of it. A lot of times they have drink holders, but you don't only just have to stack your chips like next to your drink. That's basically what I've seen. And then there's card placement zones. So there's usually an area designated for your hand, which again, don't touch the cards. You're not allowed to touch the cards. And there's boxes for the dealer themselves for their own hand. They look down and all that stuff. And there's a chip area for their chips, that the ones that they're giving out, hopefully to you. Hopefully you're getting full of chips. Other than that, those are just the general areas. And then, every casino has different colored layouts. The layout could be black, burgundy, blue. I've seen it all. You can have them custom made and custom colors. But Chris, you've probably seen this. So the first section that we really want to get to is number of players, because it does vary. Most common is 5 to 7 seats, right? But the layouts vary. Smaller tables, often in high limit rooms, have just 5 spots, but most standard casinos have 7 spots, which is weird because I always thought that they had just 6 spots. And I'm looking at my own table and I'm realizing I'm already wrong. There are 7 spots. So online and electronic, those tables can vary based on the user interface design. So, it could be up or down or all around with it online, because they can accommodate many more players than an actual live table. But in your experience, Chris, you've seen probably just the most standard ones. Have you ever played high limit?
I have played high limit. When I played high limit, and I still do play high limit. Especially like when I go to my local and stuff, because the term high limit is not actually that high of a limit. It just gets rid of some of the riffraff. But yeah, typically in like the higher limit rooms, or even like at my local, the higher minimum tables, right? So like there's always tables that are 10 and 15. There's always tables that are a quarter. The quarter tables are actually a little bit smaller. They're either 5 or 6 seats. High limit rooms the same way. It's 5 or 6 seats. But the standard tables out on the floor are usually like 7. And let me tell you, if you ever have 7 people at a table, it is crowded. A crowded table. Same thing with like a full table of craps, right? I mean, there's no room to move. Like when you're sitting at a blackjack table with 7 people, like you're crammed in there trying to, place your bets and stuff. But that is the standard. Yeah, literally. I will avoid a table with that many people. I don't like it. And you'll hear people also say about the importance of each seat at the blackjack table, right? So like some people think the first position is important, typically is, because they're kind of setting the tone. But in my opinion, the most important seat at the table is the anchor seat, or the last seat that is pulling or not pulling a card before the dealer pulls or doesn't pull a card, depending on what they have. So I always like to think of it as I want a strong player sitting at that anchor position. Now, when Craig and I like to play, right? Like when we did play, it was just you and I at the table. So like the anchors, whoever the last person is, technically speaking, but then other people did come in. If I can, and I know other people are going to come in, I will sit at that anchor spot. Because then I control kind of what's going on in terms of, am I going to pull a card or not pull a card based off of what other people are doing. But more often than not, I like to play by myself or like with one other person. So in reality, it really doesn't matter that much. But yeah, the standard anywhere from 5 to 7. You'll see mostly 7 at most casinos. But yeah, if you get to those high limit rooms and stuff, you'll see 5. Again, typically in those tables, though, there's only 1 or 2 people playing for the most part. Sometimes you'll see a little bit more, but for the most part, it's anywhere from 1 to, let's say, 3 people. You rarely see 5 people playing in a high limit room. And if you are, they probably all know each other, or it's like 2 groups of 2 or 3 people who do know each other, things like that. Rare to see just 5 randos sitting together in a high limit room.
So, Lou last week talked about Tropicana having better craps tables for his toss. And I do love blackjack at Tropicana. However, the spacing they have at Harrah's for blackjack is so much more less claustrophobic.
Yep.
The blackjack at Tropicana, it's like they were given a space and told, we need you to fit 12 tables in that area. Like literally when Chris was talking about having a full table of 7 people, I've never been actually at a full table with 7, but I've been at a table with 6, and you can barely get your chair in without knocking into the person who's the first position at the next table. It sucks that they have to have them so damn close together when they have the space to spread them out. But at Harrah's, the one that you and I played, they have those spaced out pretty well, that there is no crowding really. That was really just a personal thing that Chris and I don't like to have played a full table, and we had started the table, and then as more people came, Chris and I had already were up like $50 and we decided to walk. So spacing is just different per casino.
Yeah, it is. And the Trop is like, when you said that, it's just bringing me back. Like even 5 people at a Trop table is full. Like it feels tight. And I also don't understand why. Like most blackjack tables you go to sit at are a little bit higher. Like you're sitting on a little elevated chair. At the Trop, I feel like I'm sitting on the floor when I'm playing. It's like I legitimately think I'm like sitting Indian style crisscross applesauce trying to play blackjack. And if you know me, you would know that I hate sitting on the floor. So like to play there is tough. I do like their tables. I do like playing at the Trop. It's just the conditions that I'm playing in are not my favorite. This is also why I like to get up and get out.
Well, I'm only 5'8", so I'm pretty short. Whether there's a chair at the blackjack table or it's just me standing at the blackjack table, I'm the same height.
Yeah. Well, I can't stand at a Trop blackjack table. I have to get on my knees and go down. Like even my dog's running around right now because she's like, ooh, standing up. And like if she stood on her back legs, I mean, she would be at the dealer at the Trop. That's how short those tables are. With the table layouts, right? We were talking a lot about the way the layouts look. Obviously, Craig's giving you a very visual picture, right, of the spacing of tables and stuff. But Craig, when you play blackjack, right, do the layouts look very different to you when you're playing, or are they relatively standard in terms of like what they look like and how like side bets, things along those lines?
I would say the only thing standard to a blackjack layout from table to table is the semicircle, the writing, the font, and the frames for where they put the cards. Because other than that, from table to table, the conditions change. You either have blackjack pays 3-2, blackjack pays 6-5, dealer must stand on all 17s, dealer must hit on a soft 17. I'm now seeing dealer must hit on a hard 17. What is that? Like if you have a 7 and a face card, dude, you're done. But no, they hit. And guess what? Of course, they drew a 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
21.
Yep.
Like really?
Yeah. And like we're talking a lot of standard blackjack tables now. I will say they don't have them here. They don't have them on the East Coast really at all. But if you go to like Vegas and stuff, you'll see other tables that are like free bet blackjack and other stuff like that. Stay away from those tables. All right. If you want to be an advantaged blackjack player, you will stay away from those tables. Have you ever played free bet blackjack, Craig, before I go on my rant about free bet blackjack?
No, you can rant all you want.
So free bet blackjack, for the folks at home who don't know, right? You play blackjack in a standard way. Now, there's certain conditions that give you a quote unquote free bet. So let's say you're playing a quarter hand and you get an 11 against a dealer 5, right? Sounds great. They give you a free double, basically. So they give you a little token and they put it next to your stack. You don't have to put any more money out, but it's a free double. And if you hit the double, they will pay you your initial bet with the quarter plus another quarter for that free bet. Sounds great and wonderful, right? We all love free things, right, Craig? What's not free about it?
Absolutely.
What's not free about it? The dealer pushes on 22. Like, it's hard enough to get the dealer to bust in general. When they push on 22, it's miserable. And it's an auto push on 22. So the dealer pulls 22. It's an auto push for everything. Doesn't matter if you have 21. Doesn't matter what you have. It's an auto push. Sanity. I hate it.
Great rant. So we'll get to some of the other variants to regular table layouts and different kinds of blackjack games. One of the things I just wanted to also touch upon, besides, you have your insurance line, which we talked about. You have your dealer rules that are out on the felt in a semicircle, and that's pretty standard on every blackjack table. But you also have those betting circles and side bets. So I've seen them all the time. I've seen the lucky ladies. I've seen the I think I've seen the 21+3.
Yep.
But the felt tells you exactly what's allowed. Main betting circle always centered in front of each seat. So each frame. So if I draw a frame here, each frame of where they put your cards usually will have circles towards the front of them, or they'll have them on the sides. And they're all different kinds of side bets, like perfect pairs, 21+3, lucky ladies, royal match. But some of the layouts include multiple side bet options and others none at all. I have been at a table with none at all. But I know you like to play some of these side bets. So what you got there?
So I will tell you, for the folks at home, if you want to play blackjack and you want to play blackjack well, stay away from the side bets. All right. Stay away from them. Honestly, stay away. They're a money suck. They really are. Now,
Are
when
they
they
prop
hit,
bets? They're like prop bets.
they're like prop bets. And when they hit, you feel all great and wonderful. But if you actually do the math on it, you lose more often than not. Even if you hit some of them, you still lose, right? Now, are there times where like a shoe you get blessed? Yeah, sure, right? But I'll dabble in them sometimes just as I'm having fun, right? Like if I'm there to make a certain amount of money, I don't touch the side bets because there's no point. But like if I'm there to screw around, have some fun, I'll play the side bets because why not? Right. But I already know going into it, I'm playing for fun. I'm not really playing that seriously. And to me, there's a big difference between playing for fun and playing for seriousness. But yeah, the side bets, the only one I will play, and I'm a sucker for it, is the 21+3. I love that side bet because it is a side bet that involves your two cards plus the dealer's up card, right? And you can get paid on things like straights, three of a kind, a flush, straight flush, trips, all that kind of stuff, right? And the payouts on some of those things are really nice, right? Again, it's a money suck. You might get lucky every once in a while, but if you actually track how many times you hit that versus how many times you play it, you're losing money. I can tell you that. I've never seen anybody who's a good blackjack player or who does it for a long-term thing ever play side bets, and it's because they suck a lot of money, right? But I like that bet just because it's fun to me. Then you have, the match the dealer, which is one of your up cards matches the dealer's up card. You get paid, I think, like 4-1 or 5-1 on, a non-suited match. You get paid a little better on a suited match. It is what it is. Then you have lucky ladies, like you mentioned, right? Your hand adds up to 20. And then there's different payouts based on what your combination looks like. So if you have like two jacks, it pays a little bit more. If you have two blackjacks, if you have, two of the same suit, it pays more. All this kind of stuff, right? So again, it sounds great and wonderful. You want to realize how many times you don't get a 20 dealt to you? Play the lucky ladies. Let me tell you something. You'll see how many times you don't get a 20 dealt. It's insane. They have the dealer bust ones. I've seen those more recently where like if the dealer busts on 3 cards, you get even money. Dealer busts on 4 cards, you get like 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, so forth and so on. Again, it's nice when the dealer's busting, but if you look at a full shoe, the dealer doesn't bust enough for that bet to really pay out that well. So again, money suck. you mentioned the match, right? I went over that one a little bit. Some of them you'll see you'll see a little light in front of your blackjack spot, the blazing sevens one, where you have to get, sevens and you get money and you get sevens of diamonds, and the money payout changes based on, what's being paid out in the casino. It's like a slot machine. If you want to be good at blackjack, just stay away from the side bets. Don't even worry about them. Trust me on that. Okay. I've lost plenty playing the damn side bets. So don't play the side bets.
Well, one of the things I've noticed is people will play the side bet for a larger amount than their minimum bet for their regular play.
Yeah.
And then they lose both of them, or they lose the one, but they win their minimum bet, which doesn't even cover what they put on the side bet.
Yeah. I'll never
like,
understand it. Like, there's people, like, I think I mentioned it on a podcast before, where I was playing and a lady was playing quarter hands of blackjack with $30 on the side bets. And I'm like, if you don't hit a side bet, you're still losing money every single hand. And then she was the one, who starts oohing and ahhing when she starts hitting a side bet. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, let's be a mathlete for a second here, lady. Okay. You're playing. So my local has a 21+3. They have the match. They also have a press it, which is interesting. I will get into that in a moment. I don't see that very often. I've only seen it really at my local. She's playing $30 hands of blackjack with the side bets, $25 actual hand. And like she hits one of them for $100. Great. She doesn't hit one for 5 more hands. You're still down, and you're down $60 almost at that point. Like, you're losing a ton of money. Not to mention, you didn't win a hand in this time either. So you're like, she was losing so much money. I have never seen so many black chips, check change, check change, check change. And like, believe me, I've seen a lot of check change. Never seen it so quick with this lady in my life.
I mean, it's no different, just on a different scale of those people who come to the table, put 1,000 on the hand, lose it, and do it 5 more times.
Yep.
Like,
I'll never get it. The one thing that I did mention, the press it piece of it, right? I do really like that at my local for one reason and one reason only. So if you play a side bet, right? So they have the 21+3 or the match. If you play that and you get paid on that bet, right? So let's say, let's say I get a straight, right? Let's say I have Jack 10, dealer's got a 9 up, right? That's a straight. So it pays me. You can take that money. They'll ask you if you want to press it. What that means is you're basically doubling down with the extra money that you won. So, for example, the straight would pay 9-1, right? So let's say I have $5 on it, pays me 45, and I'm playing a quarter hand. So I could have that 20 against a dealer 9 with a quarter plus the 50 behind on that press it piece. If I win, I get paid the quarter plus another 50. If I lose, they take it all. But if it's an advantageous piece for you, you can do it. The other cool thing is like, and again, this goes real degenerate real quick, right? So like, let's say, you get paid on something like that, and then you're going to double. You can double the press also. So like you can get a lot more money out there quickly. So like in that same instance, right? Pretend I have a 10 in front of me. So let's say I hit, a straight. Let's say I go, I don't know, 5, 6, and the dealer's got either a 4 or 7, whatever it may be, right? You can double that press it bet also. You can go real degenerate real quick.
I imagine you've probably dabbled in the degeneracy. It's in your name. So then the only other thing that we really wanted to talk about is, the blackjack shape and sizes of the table. We've already talked a little bit about the payouts. A classic semicircle is your standard table. That's the most common you're going to see on land-based casinos. The mini tables, they're used for single deck and high limit room. And then online layouts obviously can often be flatter, more symmetrical, and optimized for your screen visibility. It can change and alter just for whatever you're watching it on. Everything still has either a 3-2, which is player friendly, or 6-5, which is house friendly. We didn't talk about surrender, but you'll also see that surrender availability. Not every blackjack layout has it, but if it does and you want to play it, or you're advantaged and want to play it, go for it. Also, the side bet rules are always on there. Chris just talked about side bet rules on some of the side bets he's played before. And then table minimums and maximums are usually on placards. We didn't really get into what you're going to see on the table, but you're going to see a card stacker. You're going to see hopefully you see a shoe. You don't want to see a continuous shuffler. If you see a continuous shuffler, just move on, because you're never going to be able to count cards or anything like that, or have a running count with a continuous shuffler. You want to see a shoe. Those shoes typically have been 6-deck shoes for a long time. Now you're going to see more often, you're going to see 8-deck shoes. But you can still see a 3-2 table with, I'm going to bring this out, with an automatic shuffler. Automatic shuffler is okay as long as they're dealing the entire shoe. I think, Chris, you've talked before about being at tables where they deal them out themselves in front of the players, or they use an automatic shuffler, but they're using the whole deck, the whole shoe.
Yep. Yeah, that's what you want to do. I mean, most casinos, especially now, you rarely ever see hand shuffles anymore. So like you can't really get around the auto shuffler. But it's fine as long as they are playing the whole shoe. If you're on a continuous shuffle, it's a nightmare. Again, you can play on it, but you're never really going to be advantaged on that thing. That's more luck if you win on that. And then if you're lucky enough to play like single deck or double deck, like good for you. I know they exist in Vegas and stuff. There's nowhere in like the East Coast that you can, not that I know of anyway, that you can play like single deck or double deck. But if you can, I mean, I'd play single deck, double deck all the time if I could. But I can't. I play mostly 6-deck. 8-deck, casinos have it. Again, I would try to avoid it, but most of the casinos I play at are 6-deck, so I'll live with the 6-deck.
Well, that's what I see at Tropicana. They're all 8-deck.
Yep.
It sucks, but it is what it is. The final thing I wanted to say on this part of the first topic was just there's variant specific layouts. Chris, you can talk about some of these because I have not played them myself, but like Spanish 21, there's no 10s in the deck, so the felt often highlights bonus payouts. There's Blackjack Switch, 2 betting spots per player, Pontoon, different technology and payout boxes, and Super Fun 21, which has extra rule boxes printed on the felt. I've never played any of those. Have you?
The only one I've ever played is Spanish 21, which, yeah, like you said, just 10s are removed. Not a fan of it, really. I prefer regular Blackjack. The other ones I haven't even heard of. I mean, I probably have. I just haven't played them or seen them anywhere. The only thing I have seen is like I said, the free bet Blackjack. That was in Vegas when I was playing. I think it was the Horseshoe. When I was at the Horseshoe, I think that's where I saw it. I know a couple places have it though. You can play it online too. I know a lot of the casinos online have free bet Blackjack, but it's nightmarish. The other thing I want to quickly touch on, because you mentioned online layouts. If you were playing Blackjack online, okay, and you're playing on some sports book or whatever it may be, stay away from infinite Blackjack. It is a nightmare to play. And if you want to learn how to play Blackjack, it's nice because they have small minimums on it. However, you're playing with an infinite amount of people who may do stupid shit all the time. So like you'll see people split 10s regularly, fine, whatever. You see people hit on like 17 and 18. You see people hit on like 15 when dealers got a 6 up. You see like ridiculous shit, and it costs you hands a lot of the time because even though you stand, the card is still pulled from the deck, so the dealer gets the next card anyway. So just stay away from infinite Blackjack. That's all I'm going to say on that. Just don't play it.
Obviously, casinos are doing all this because they want to have the advantage. They don't want you to have the advantage. It changes house edge, all these different layout aspects, and it affects your decision. Obviously, they're just influencing the table speed and player comfort, and they don't really care what you feel about it. They're going to keep making their rules, and you're going to keep either choosing to play or not to play. But to your point you just mentioned about the infinite Blackjack, imagine if there was a craps table that had an infinite number of people that could buy in. It would be about that insane.
Yeah, literally though.
Pretty much.
But yes, if you want to be good at Blackjack, stay away from that kind of stuff. And if you ask people what a good Blackjack player plays, Craig, what are most people going to tell you?
Most people are going to tell you the best way to play is to know perfect basic strategy, count cards, learn the running count, and learn what true count is going to do for you. And it's very hard. People say, well, it's not that hard to learn the running count. Learning the running count is not that hard. Learning true count is much harder, and counting cards, it takes a lot of time. But if that's the way you want to play, that's great. You can still learn it. It just takes time and practice to do it. However, Chris, are there other ways to play blackjack and win?
There are other ways to play blackjack. So basic strategy, right? Everybody's favorite thing to talk about with blackjack. Does it work? Sure. Does it not work? Sure. You're gambling, right? So will it work sometimes? Yes. Will it not work other times? Of course. There's deviations to basic strategy, right? There's plenty of them that are been studied, all this kind of stuff. If you want to take a look at it, go for it, right? I'm not going to teach you basic strategy on here. Why? Because there's a chart. You can print the chart out. You can have it up on your phone at the casino, and you can just play basic strategy, right? Now, there are many other ways to play the game. As Craig likes to say, right? Basic strategy will help you lose less often, which is true, right? Than just playing like a moron. But if you want to be really advantaged at playing blackjack, you're not going to be playing basic strategy. You're going to have deviations from basic strategy. You will know the deviations of basic strategy, right? I always say I don't play basic strategy. If you sit down at a table with me and we run through a shoe, it may look like basic strategy. Why? Because my play is founded off of that. However, there are deviations that I have in my play to basic strategy. And most accomplished blackjack players will tell you that you have to deviate off of basic strategy, right? One of my common ones, and Craig and I were just talking about this before. There's actually two. Basic strategy will tell you to surrender. I never surrender. I never do. Right? You may call me stupid for not doing it. I never surrender. Never, ever, 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 ever surrender. Okay? I don't do it. Now, the other thing I don't do is doubles and splits. If you look at a basic strategy chart, again, like I said, you can print them out. You can literally Google basic strategy chart and you can find one. It tells you when to split, when to double, all that kind of stuff. I deviate heavily off of that. Why? Because doubles and splits add a lot of volatility into your play. And you can reduce the amount of volatility by not doing it. Now, I'm not saying I don't split and I don't double, do, but if you look at a basic strategy card, every 11 you're supposed to double. No, you're not, according to DJ, right? You're not. A lot of 10s you're supposed to double, according to DJ. You're not. Okay. Like I said, will I deviate from that? Yes. Do I never double or never split? Hell no. Okay. I do it, but in certain situations. So, maybe one day we'll go into my premonitions on blackjack and the way I play, but we're going to introduce a new segment here, and we are going to meet a accomplished blackjack player who's going to tell us a little bit about his strategy and the way he plays blackjack in the next few episodes. But today, why don't we get to know our guest in the Blackjack Brief? Craig, should we hit the Blackjack Brief?
It's time for the Blackjack Brief.
Welcome into the Blackjack Brief, where our guest is not your average blackjack player. He's far from it. He's a true maverick of the game. Over the years, he's taken the casinos by storm, winning tournaments in the U.S. and in the Bahamas. What makes him stand out isn't just his success, it's how he plays. He's developed a unique, highly advantageous approach to blackjack that blends sharp mathematical insight, fearless betting, and a deep understanding of casino psychology. You may call it unorthodox, you may call it genius. One thing's for sure, when he sits down at the table, the house is paying attention. We're diving into the mind of a man who's rewritten what it means to beat the game of blackjack, his strategy, his mindset, and his journey from felt to fortune on the blackjack table. The author of Beyond the Book, Bruce. How are we doing today, Bruce?
I'm doing well, guys. It's good to see you, Chris and Craig.
We appreciate you coming on. We're looking forward to getting into your story, your journey of how you evolved playing blackjack and ultimately to how you play the game of blackjack today and what makes it different than the way most people play blackjack. I think, there's a common premonition of how people should play blackjack and how it's supposed to be played. But through talking to you, right, we've determined that you play different than most, but it has been successful for you. So why did you pick blackjack in the first place?
Well, most people love to play poker. Every casino has poker. For decades, people play in their homes with poker. Unfortunately for me, I'm not a big bluffer, and I'm really not one that wants to stay on a hand for very long. So poker was sort of slow for me. Then when I got into the casinos, another game which people love is craps and dice, and I know you guys love that game. Well, again, for me, waiting for everybody to set their bets and throw the dice and all that stuff to me was just little bit too long. So blackjack being roughly the best odds in the house, and much quicker game normally, I migrated just to blackjack, and that's all I play.
Yeah, I like that. I think, a lot of people struggle with the timing of games, right? And there's so many options when you walk into a casino, whether it be craps, blackjack, poker, slots, whatever it may be, right? That some people have to figure out, what do I want to play? And sometimes you have to learn trial by error, right? You have to play other games to figure out, I don't like this game, right? So did you ever play any other games other than blackjack, or was it just you kind of knew the other games were slow and they weren't really for you, that blackjack was the one for you?
Well, I knew they were slow, but you mentioned slots. I left that out earlier. Slots was a business decision. If the states or if the casinos are paying each individual state up to 50% of their revenue in tax, more than likely it wasn't a winnable game. And we all pretty much know it's not a winnable game, but there's thousands of machines in every major casino. So it's a very popular game, but when you're playing $100 and they're giving you $90 back, that was not a very good business decision. And I treat all of this as a business decision. It isn't, hey, let's just go have fun. I mean, it's a great marketing deal where casino, hey, come visit us, have a great time, leave $500 or $1,000 when you leave, and, do it 2 or 3 times a year. So it's great. I'm just one that doesn't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose, but when you're playing a game that everybody thinks you're going to lose, I get a lot of pride in winning more times than not.
You want to win more than you lose.
Yeah,
That
absolutely, absolutely.
And that's the
And
goal for sure. So with blackjack, right? That's the game that you can win at more than you can lose, hopefully. And by playing the way you do, you definitely do win more than you lose. So kind of with your blackjack journey, right? You've been playing for a number of years. And I know from talking to you, but I'm going to let you tell it yourself, that blackjack really clicked during COVID for you, right? But you were playing prior to COVID. So take us a little bit through, I guess, how you started in the beginning and then what really happened during COVID that you really made things click for you.
well, if we go back in the early '90s, I started going to Las Vegas. There's only two places in the country that you could really go for quite a while: Las Vegas, and then or late 1980s or early 1990s, you could go to Atlantic City. Whether you went to Caesars or MGM, the Mirage, Excalibur. I mean, those were just I was amazed. I had a business that sold parts for commercial cooking equipment. So the largest hotels in the world were in Las Vegas, and they were my major customers. So we would go out there, visit the customers, and play cards, totally recreationally. I mean, I look back and what I play today, which could easily be thousands of dollars, was $50, $100, $200. I mean, you could get a private table at Caesars for $200. Well, now it's hard to get it for $1,000. So um, after seeing that, and then coming back to Indiana, you had Trump's casinos. The riverboat started in like 1995, 1996. So we started, playing a little bit more locally. And then Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods in Connecticut opened up in the mid to late 1990s. After Trump's casinos were open in the late 1990s, we played recreational locally as much as Las Vegas and many other places until about 2011, 2012. And that's when I sold my distribution business to private equity. Then I had a bunch of time on my hand. So from that point, I started playing quite a bit of time. And Mohican Sun, I mentioned it earlier, Foxwoods, going to Florida, Regatta, Atlantic City, a great casino, MGM in Detroit, National Harbor and MGM opened up later on in 2016. So Florida, Hard Rock, Hollywood, and Tampa. So there's many places to play. Through that period of time of 2012 before COVID, I played many different ways. Played basic strategy, played almost basic strategy. But at a certain point, you know, uh, it was difficult to win. We won many times. Well, you mentioned earlier, hey, I've won at the highest level a bunch of money, and I've lost a bunch of money. That's sort of the game. If you win the casino, if you win a lot of money from the casino, they want you back immediately. And I can tell you why, because hey, you can win 100 grand, and then you can lose 100 grand in the next two hands or the next two shoes.
Yep.
Happens all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, 'cause you mentioned. I mean, I don't necessarily like the name well, but I understand it. I mean, so I'm not offended by it at all. But at the same time, hey, if you just play at a bigger level, you get respect. But why wouldn't they respect you if you play at that level? They expect. I mean, what's an ADT on an average bet of $10,000 for 25 hours? A whole bunch more than they'll ever give you. I mean, that's what's kind of
True
I get
too. Yep.
into. I get into disagreements on people playing for comps. I get a lot of comps, but I don't play for comps.
Right.
But most people say, "Hey, we're playing for the comps." Okay, well, I mean, I get the comps, and hopefully I win most of the time. I look back when I was growing up. In the family, you'd be playing Monopoly, and everybody'd get in a fight. Everybody get mad
Yep.
at each other, and I said, "This is crazy. You're playing a game, and everybody's getting mad." And then I'd play hearts, and everybody get mad at me because I wouldn't know how to play. Yeah, you didn't lay down the right card. I said, I'm not, I don't care. But when I got to playing blackjack, okay, I can understand that game better than most. And whether you're betting $5, $10, $20, $100, okay, it's just the thrill of the game at that point. Even today, I do it as a challenge. I'm not addicted to it. I mean, a lot of people, you know, are addicted to it. And y'all said many times, don't play what you can't afford to lose. And that's great advice to anyone in the gambling world. I commend you guys on how you started out, 16 episodes ago. Okay, so what happened during COVID time? The casinos were shut down. I was in Hard Rock in Tampa, and they shut the casino. We had to leave that day to come back to Indiana, and it was shut down for 90 days. So then I started to practice dealing to myself. First time I'd ever done it. I mean, in my book, Beyond the Book, we talk about practice, practice, practice. Back in my basketball days, hey, you practice. The way you practice is how you're gonna play in a game. I
Right.
believe that totally. So we practice hard. Dealing thousands and thousands of hands, probably hundreds of thousands of hands, and definitely tens of thousands of shoes. Just seeing what happened and then recording it. No one does it. No one's ever done it. I believe. I haven't read it. I've heard you guys talk many times about many books you read, have read on craps or on blackjack. Hundreds, if not thousands, of books on this game. But no one will put down what happens in those. If you're playing one-on-one and it's 6-deck shoe and they're cutting 2 decks, there's 208 cards, takes about 36 to 40 hands. No one knows what happens. I know what happened. I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I've seen everything that can happen. You can win 2 in a row, win 3 in a row, win and lose 1 or 2, lose 8 in a row, win 9 in a row in just those 36 hands,
Right.
over and over and over. So coming up with a strategy to play that way has been a daunting task. But I do have it. It's not foolproof. I mean, again, if you practice the way I show you, you're going to see yourself. You're going to lose. I mean, it's a game that cannot be beat. And I say that in the book, or we say that in the book. But at the same time, you can win money. And so it's a step-by-step process. But during COVID, I used to think that potentially, say it jokingly, that the game was rigged. That somehow, how could I have 20 so many times and the dealer have a 2 showing, flip over 10 for 12, and the next card's a 9 for 21, over and over and over. And I'm going, this is crazy. It cannot happen. There's got to be some, I mean, it'd be the biggest conspiracy in the world if the casino's owners and a dealer and a pit boss and a player were all in cahoots somehow. Again, or mostly against the player, so the player's not even involved. But
Yep.
when I started dealing to myself, I could deal the cards exactly the same way that the dealer in the casino was doing it, and I was beating myself, having a 20, and I as a dealer had a 2, a 10, and a 9. So I did the exact same thing that was happening to me at the casino. So I said, okay, good news is I know the game's not rigged. Thought it was kind of foolish, but we have all sorts of strange thoughts when we're in a casino, and especially when 4 or 5 times you expect to win and you lose over and over and over, because that's the game. I mean,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
uh,
the reality of it. And if you play enough shoes of blackjack, which obviously you have played a ton, you're gonna know that that happens frequently, right? And the rigging aspect of things, people like to claim things are rigged when they're losing, right? But once you actually see it and you demonstrate it out, which is one thing that I really like about how your practice philosophy and all that kind of stuff, right? We have a buddy who has a motto: practice like you play and play like you practice, which is exactly what you are preaching right now, where you're actually sitting here dealing out shoes and you're dealing out cards to yourself and practicing and practicing and practicing. A lot of people don't practice blackjack. Their practice of blackjack is them at the casino with actual money at risk, and they're playing whatever way they think is the way to play blackjack, whether it be basic strategy, whether it not be basic strategy, whatever it may be. The idea of practicing, right? If you want to be good at anything, you have to practice. I know both of you like golf. The folks at home who are listening, they know that I like golf, right? You can't be a good golfer without practice, right? And I'm not saying you go to the driving range and just whale your driver around for an hour. That's not practice. And if you followed me when I was playing in lower level tournaments in high school and college and all that kind of stuff, the driving range itself and swinging a driver around was the least thing that I actually practiced. Most of my practice was spent at the putting green and in the short game aspect of things, right? Because if you're a golfer, that's where most of your strokes are coming from. And if most of your strokes aren't coming from there, well, you're probably a bad golfer who's hitting it left and right and all different areas, and you finally get up to the green and then you can hit the ball there. But practice is key. Practice is very important. And you would say, Bruce, that practice is probably one of the most important facets of your system and your mindset of play, correct?
that's very correct. I mean, one of the things that people have a problem with in a casino is emotions. I mean, it's up and down. Hey, everything's great when you're winning and everything's crap when you're losing. Well, if you practice long enough, I've seen it all. You will never see me. I mean, I have a very good relationship with every casino I've ever played at, because I give them, you guys talk a lot about, being polite, being respectful in a casino, and then everybody should be. I mean, it's always funny when in a casino everybody gets mad at the dealer. I mean, they berate them at times. They're losing 4 or 5 in a row or whatever. Now, I mean, there's some dealers that aren't very personable, and that's fine.
Right.
I'm one when I play. I don't want to have conversation. Just I mean, I'll be respectful, but I can probably play faster. I can play 40 hands in probably 12 or 13 minutes. and that's a bunch. But it's just, okay, here's the 2 cards I have. Here's the 1 card they have. Modified Player's Guide, MPG, that which is my basic strategy card. I already know what I'm going to do. So then it's just the results of whatever they flip over, and then it happens in 15 or 20 seconds, especially if they have 2 cards, I have 2 cards, 3 cards, whatever. It doesn't take very long.
All right, so we hope you guys enjoyed the Blackjack Brief segment 1. There's going to be plenty more of this, so stay tuned for that. In the next few episodes, there's going to be a piece of it in each episode, and then maybe I'll just stitch them all together and put one out. We'll see. But stay tuned for this because we're going to talk a lot about the blackjack, and we're going to get into a way that is advantaged to play. And Bruce, who was in the Blackjack Brief, he's been playing for a long time and has developed, his way of playing. Now, are we going to tell you that his way of playing is going to guarantee you a win every single time? No. If somebody tells you that they can guarantee you a way to play any game in a casino that's going to guarantee you a win, I call bullshit. And it's people selling snake oil, people just, trying to get views, whatever it may be, right? Now, I will tell you that if you learn how to play blackjack and you have a practiced way of playing that works for you and you see that it works, you will be more advantaged to play, maybe win more than you lose, right? Again, not guaranteeing shit, okay? The only thing I can guarantee is that you're gambling. Because you're gambling. But certain ways of playing will help you win more than you lose and hopefully have more winning sessions than losing sessions. Doesn't matter if you're playing blackjack, doesn't matter if you're playing craps, roulette, whatever it is, right? There are ways to have more winning sessions than losing sessions. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.
I just want to interject. The only other thing that you can guarantee is that we look good on camera. Okay.
We're pretty. All right, Craig. I got a little ranty in the beginning, and I'm gonna get a little ranty now because it's time for what the fuck?
Warning.
The thoughts and comments in the next segment may trigger you. If you are triggered, seek help from someone who cares.
What the fuck? All right, Craig. It's time for a what the fuck segment, and
I've been waiting.
This one has got me right now. This one has got me in a hold right now. Okay. So a lot of people know, right? Craig and I, craps players, blackjack players, but we're in a lot of different Facebook groups and forums. And I'm not singling any specific forum out. Okay. So if your panties are in a bunch, it's probably because you have this on your forum, but I'm not singling you out. I can promise you that. I'm singling out this thing in the forum. The world is shifting to AI, right? We all know it. We all see it everywhere. It's great for certain things, right? Please get the stupid AI out of your fucking groups on Facebook and other stuff with the AI bot that's going to ask me a question every day. I don't want to see it. Okay. Why? Because it's usually some stupid question, and then you get some guy who sees the question and then goes on a dissertation in the comments. And yes, could I scroll past it? Of course. But DGen being DGen and inquisitive as he is, I'm going to see the question. I'm going to see that there's 33 comments on this post, and I'm going to go read the damn comments. Why? Because I'm an internet troll sometimes, and I like to read them. But like, I see them every day because they post automatically every day at the same time every day. And they're usually dumbass questions, right? Like, craps. What's it called when the shooter throws a 7 after establishing a point? It's called a 7 out. All right. Take your money, walk the fuck away. That's what it is. Okay. In blackjack, what's it called when the dealer has an ace and a jack? Well, news flash for everybody. It's called blackjack. Damn game's called. Okay. So, like, please, for the love of God, get these stupid AI things out of the chat because they're just so annoying to show up on my feed. Like, it actually makes me want to leave your group or your forum when I see that shit. Because then, like I said, you got some guy who's at home with nothing better to do, and then he goes on a whole dissertation, and half the time it's usually some bullshit he typed into AI anyway. And like, if you think that people can't tell that you copied and pasted from like ChatGPT, like, you're out of your mind. All right. It's clear as day that it's ChatGPT. So like, I see something, what is a 21 called in blackjack? And then, somebody goes on their phone, ChatGPT. What is a 21 in blackjack? And then, ChatGPT gives them the whole thing and they copy and paste it in the thing. Like, you don't win an award for this. You don't get a prize for like posting an answer to this. All you get is a potential to show up on the FOC FOS Award because you used AI to talk to the AI who's not going to talk back to you. Congratulations, you're a moron.
But that was great. But I have to say, if you're typing in what is 21 in blackjack and ChatGPT doesn't say, you just answered your fucking question in your question, you moron, it's blackjack. Like, that's really. And the thing is, we've seen YouTubers, and we're not going to name anybody, we've seen YouTubers who use that post section in their YouTube channel to ask dumbass questions like that. Like,
Yep.
hey, what's it called when you have numbers that are not a 7 or a horn or a hard way? What are they called? They're called box numbers, moron. Yeah, we know that. Like, I don't know if you want to really take your channel and go down to even, like, can you go lower than basic? I mean, isn't basic basic? You can't go lower. Lower than basic means you're talking to a fucking toddler about casino games that they can't play for 20 more years.
So it's funny. So you said if you type in what is a 21 in blackjack in ChatGPT, so I actually just did it because I'm amused, right? So I actually opened ChatGPT and typed in what is a 21 in blackjack. You know what it comes up with? In blackjack, a 21 simply means your hand totals 21 points, which is the best possible total without busting. There are two types of 21, and they are not equal. Number one, blackjack. Natural 21, the strongest hand in the game, and it goes into the requirements. And then there's a regular 21, which you get when your cards total 21 after the fact. It didn't just say though that you're a moron. I wish ChatGPT was like unfiltered a little bit sometimes and like would actually tell you you're a moron.
We should create a FullofChips AI that adapts to our sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yes, I love that idea. Well, I guess we know a coder, so maybe I don't know if he can code this for us, but that'd be great. Like if you could get a FullofChips GPT and like you type in a question and you would get like a Craig or I response, that'd be fantastic. Because like if you typed in what is a 21 in blackjack in the FullofChips GPT, you would get "Are you a fucking moron?" as our response. Or like something along those lines. But I would love that. But
that'd be great.
These AI things, right? AI is great. You can use it for a lot of different things. I use it every day, right? I use it for work. I use it for other stuff. It's great. But stop with the posting of the AI stuff, okay? And like, because my problem is you like victimize the people who like want to type in the comments. Like some people are living for this shit to pop up on their screen, and they're like, "Ooh, I can respond back." Like, and it's not my generation, right? The Facebook generation is not my generation. I'm after the Facebook generation, but like even some of the shit that I see on Facebook all the time, like, I got friends' parents who are like, "Went to the store today." I don't care. I really don't care. So like when you ask, what is a 21 in blackjack? Why? Because you're going to get somebody who's going to respond.
Now you're getting me into a future what the fuck about people who post on social media what they're eating. Stop doing that shit. Nobody gives a fuck what you're eating. Nobody gives a fuck what it smells like because they can't smell it because you're showing a picture of it. But nobody gives a shit because guess what? It doesn't even come close to the pictures that you see in like cookbooks. It comes over with the worst lighting that you've ever seen to something that's supposed to be beautiful, looks like fucking mush. So cut the shit out, okay? There you go.
Yeah.
That's a mini what the fuck. That's a mini fuck.
What the fuck? It's a mini fuck. Your steak that you just cooked and overcooked to hell that's well done looks like the shit my dog took earlier. Like, stop. Anyway.
But if you want quality, you go for a top 5 list. And maybe when we ever have shirts made, we're going to have a top 5 shirt.
Oh, we're going to have a top 5 shirt. Craig, is it time for our top 5 list?
It's time for the top 5.
is time for the top 5. Our top 5 tonight is lessons learned from life, or things learned from life. All right. So
FOC going deep.
we are getting real deep. And before anybody wants to take a shot at my age in the chat, all right, or in the comments, I've learned a lot of things. Okay. Top 5 list. What is number 5 in things you've learned from life?
So we're talking about sets of 5 ideas about life, right? That feel big enough to matter, but simple enough to actually use, right? So my number 5 is life gets better or worse based on your courage. So most of those meaningful things, relationships, creative work, risks, reinventions, only happen when you're willing to step into discomfort. Courage isn't loud, but it's choosing the harder, truer thing. So just like we've said before, look, craps is not an easy game to look at if you've never played it. But once you've played it and you've taken the courage to play it, and you've taken the courage to know your goddamn bet progressions, you can be a better player.
There you go. I like that one. We are getting deep. We're getting real deep.
These are
right.
FOC deep cuts.
Yeah, they are. Who would have thought? I mean, so wholesome we are. All right, my number 5 is you are responsible for your own happiness. All right. There is not a job in the world, a circumstance, probably not a person that can make you fulfilled in everything that you do, right? And if there is a person, you chose that person. So you made that active decision to have them be helpful in your happiness, right? We hope that things that you do, people that you choose, add to the happiness that is in your life. But you choose your habits, you choose your attitude, your boundaries, things that you set, the people in your life, you make those choices, right? Somebody that isn't making you happy, you cut out of your life, or you try to limit the amount of involvement that they may have. So happiness is built by you. You have to be responsible for your own happiness. It's not just going to come to you.
Excellent number 5.
All right, Craig, number 4.
My number 4 kind of tails off of what you just said. So my number 4 is I'm always editing myself. So we know life is a blank slate, right? You revise your beliefs, your habits, your boundaries, even your identity as you go. The trick is to edit with intention instead of letting the world do the editing for you.
I like that. I like that. Let's go on. All right, my number 4. Failure is a teacher, not an identity. You're going to fail. It's inevitable. You're going to fail at something. You're going to mess up with something. You're never going to be perfect, right? It's impossible. But what does define you is, can you learn from that? Can you improve upon that failure? Or can you keep moving forward in the face of that failure? Regardless of how many times you fail, how many times you have a setback, you stumble, whatever it may be, you're only as strong as what you do coming out of that failure. So we need to learn from failure, setbacks, mistakes, whatever it may be. We're all going to make them. Learn from them, try to improve, adapt, and become a better person.
Love it. Love it. We are just dealing out knowledge tonight.
Nuggets of wisdom.
And I'll just tail end of that. I'll just say failure builds character. So Chris, you don't have kids yet, but eventually you will, and you're going to learn. You have to let your kids fail because it's the only way they're going to learn. But here's the thing. Failure builds character. Character is how you act when no one's looking.
Facts.
Deep cuts. Deep cuts.
Deep cuts. All right, Craig, number 3.
All right. This one I had to think about. Protect my attention. So where you place your focus shapes your reality. What you notice grows. What you ignore fades. Protect your attention like it's money, because it is.
There you go.
I got to take a drink after that.
Yeah, you do. All right, number 3 for me is your relationships in life contribute to your happiness more than achievements. So success is great, right? Love to have a good job, love to win a trophy, don't love to win the FOC Award or FOC FOS Award, but those things are all great and wonderful, but your connections, the people around you, right? I always say, and I've been told this for a long time, your network is your net worth, right? So like, yeah, you could have the greatest paying job in the world. Is that what's going to make you happy, or are the people around you going to make you happy? That is what it is. So relationships are going to make you happier than achievements, especially individual achievements, right? Yeah, there are achievements that are great with people, with other people, but again, those are people around you, not an individual success.
You're gonna make us tear up here. This is very similar. So the number 2 for me, people matter more than things. So experiences, relationships, shared stories outlast achievements and possessions. The older I get, the more obvious this becomes, and the more grateful I am for the people who stayed.
I love it. I love it. There's some overlap there. Who would have thought? I mean, listen, we could have picked 5 things from our lives that like have impacted us in some way, and we still overlap. I mean, unbelievable. Um, my number 2 kind of overlaps with your number 3 a little bit. So my number 2 is time is your most valuable resource. You can always earn more money. You can always go get something. You can always replace things. You can't replace time, and you can't get more time. You got to spend it on the relationships, growing, health, whatever it may be, things that matter to you. That's what you have to spend your time on. And time is finite. It will end at some point, and you can't go and get it back. So make sure you spend your time doing things that you like, things that you want to do, because time is your most valuable resource.
Love it. Love it. This is Chris. Chris is he's giving out wisdom, he's giving out ideas, and he's making it all happen. I love it. All right.
Number 1.
My number 1, I wanted to tie in a little bit of casino to it. So my number 1 is I can influence the odds. I can't control the game. So life is part skill, part luck. I can prepare, practice, position myself well, but I can't script outcomes. Freedom comes from playing well, not guaranteeing wins.
There you go. Strong number 1. My number 1 can also be related to the casino as well. My number 1 is your mindset shapes your reality. And what I mean by that is how you interpret things is how the events are going to happen, or how they happen in your opinion. But you can always approach things with gratitude, curiosity, and that's going to shape the experience that you're having. Same thing in like a casino setting, other things, right? Your mindset in the casino is going to shape how that session goes. The dice may not fall right. The cards may not fall right. But your mindset in that situation can either be good or it can be bad, and it's up to you, right? Your reality of that situation is based on the mindset that you have. So make sure you have a positive mindset and always be looking for the good in things, or the positive aspect of things. Don't be a negative Nelly and be a Debbie Downer and all those good names that we give. Side note, I don't know why they're all women's names. I don't get it. But anyway, there's no need to go through life in that type of mindset. So have a positive mindset, because that's going to shape your reality. Positive mindset will have a positive reality.
Excellent. Although it's not like, I don't know why they use women's names. It's not like you're going to, although, they say it for boats. It's not like you're going to get a yacht and call it the Sweet Brad, You're probably going to call it Lady
I
Luck.
wouldn't. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
All right, great top 5 list. That was deep. Hopefully you folks at home enjoyed that. I know there's some people who they pulled over their car because they were listening to us in the car. And they just pulled over and they were like,
they were mesmerized.
What are these two dropping on us right now? Like normally our top 5 lists are, fun, jovial, joking, whatever it may be. And then boom, today we smack you with some cold hard reality and some just deep nuggets from the Bible of Full of Chips.
So we would like to think that they pulled over because they were mesmerized, but they're probably like,
or they turned us off.
Could they distract me anymore? I'm on the highway.
Well, in that case, Craig, what's our tip of the episode?
Our tip of the episode is an important one. It's a simple one. It's a simple rule. My father taught it to me. I'm sure Chris's father taught it to him. Don't be an asshole. All right? That's the tip of the episode. Don't be an asshole. It's the kind of advice that works at a blackjack table, in the grocery store line, at the DMV, and especially in a casino with emotions, chips, and egos all running hot.
Yes, I love
Don't
that
be an
tip of the
asshole.
episode. Don't be one. There's no need for that, right? We just got done dropping nuggets of wisdom on you. Was one of them be an asshole? No. So don't do it. All right? Be nice, be good, and just be an asshole.
That's right. Be full of chips.
Yes, be full of chips, and hopefully you will be more full of chips. Great episode 21, Craig. A lot of blackjack
Yes,
talk.
sir.
We introduced the Blackjack Brief. I'm looking forward to this a lot, and we're gonna
Yeah.
get into some very intricate pieces of blackjack. So I'm looking forward to that. But
We like
great
new stuff.
episode. Oh yeah, the what the fuck FOC FOS Award. That acronym is gonna always trip me up. But it's okay because they don't even know. They're full of shit anyway. So it don't matter. But great episode, great top 5 list with the nuggets. I'm gonna let you take us out on the episode. But before we do that, I gotta remind the folks at home. If you need to find us, email fullofchipspodcast@gmail.com, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Apple, all those great places. Full of Chips Podcast. It's the same on all of them. And again, a reminder: if you're interested, casino tiers. If you want any merch or dice or anything, Full of Chips 15. And I didn't say it in the first episode. There's nothing like we don't get any kickbacks for that or anything. That's just 10 ton and Ed being kind and during the holiday season giving out 15%. So if you want that, go for it. It doesn't benefit Craig and I in any way. So if
Here,
you want 15% off, go for it.
let's show some casino tiers dice.
All right, we got some again, like I said, nothing coming back to us. We're just fans of Casino Tiers, and I have some of their stuff. Dice, you can see Casino Tiers on it, right? I have blue, I have pink, a couple other colors back there. I know Craig's got them as well.
Got
And
the
then
black one.
Casino Tiers Atlantic City, baby. I have the AC shirt from Casino Tiers. I have this one in a couple colors as well. So again, nothing comes back to us. Just go support those dudes because we love them. And
we'll put the promo up one more time.
Yep, it'll flash up on the screen for you. Great episode 21. And Craig, take us out.
All right, we're full of chips, but we're also supporting our friends over at Casino Tiers. So 3, 2, 1, full of chips.
Bang.